Nightingale.
Super humbling to be here, and I'm excited about putting our best foot forward, and we're going to get Spartan hockey back to where it belongs, and that's at the top of college hockey. Thank you. Go Green.
Obviously, you've had a great coaching career already. The first question is probably the most obvious, the most simple. Why was this the right job at the right time for you?
You know, I think I've always been a guy that tries to be where my feet are at, you know, and I don't think I did a great job as a player with it, and you're always looking to what's next. And so when I got into coaching, I like helping people get better. I like being part of a team. But then when it opened up, you know, I think Michigan State is a really unique university, and you know, I've always said it's not where you're at, it's who you're with, and I think that's what really makes Michigan State special is the people, the athletic department, the students, the faculty, the East Lansing community. It's a special spot and one that I want to move my family to.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Inside the Locker Room. I am your co-host, Brian Musalam, along with my co-host, Jason Strayhorn, the Honorable, and a special guest tonight in studio, co-hosting the show, Matt Sheehan, host of Locked On Spartans. How you doing, Matt?
Great. Nick Saban last week, me this week. What a downgrade that is. Very hard pressed to find a steeper one.
If I asked many Spartans, I think they would disagree, right, Jason? What do you think?
Absolutely. No, this is a definite upgrade from last week.
Oh, I'll just leave the show right now. This is great. I've heard everything I wanted to hear, so perfect. Thanks, guys.
Well, we got a very special guest tonight. One who we believe is the one to turn around our hockey program and build our program from the ground back up. As you know, Michigan State's had tremendous tradition as it relates to hockey. I remember when we had hundreds of consecutive sellouts. I believe even this past year we're seventh in the country in attendance, and so the great tradition of this program, we finally welcome back one of our own. Coach, welcome to the show, Coach Adam Nightingale, MSU's new hockey coach. How you doing, Coach?
Great. Thanks for having me, guys.
We are very excited to have you. Very excited to have you back home. I know many of the former players. You know, guys from my generation, especially young, you know, I'm talking the Rem Murrays and Steve Gowalas and Anson Carters, and we can go back to my time. But when I talk to many of the former players, they're extremely excited to have you back part of the program. So we can't wait for you to get going. How's it been on your first few days on the job? Drinking out of a fire hose?
Yeah, a little bit. It's been great, though. And I tell you, you find out quick, you know. I knew when I was a player, and then when I worked here, like special people that work here, and everyone's been so willing to help. It's all hands on deck, and got 100% support. And you know, anytime there's a change with the coach, there's you know, different people trying to figure out where they sit within, just the patience from everyone. So yeah, everything's been great.
You know, I will say that the great tradition that we had and the expectation obviously is there, and you know, when you talk to a lot of the former players, they just rave and rave and rave. I remember during this whole process, I mean, I probably got 30 phone calls as if I had something to do with it. You know, Adam Nightingale. And we're very, very happy to have you here. And, you know, I want to ask you something. I mean, obviously one of the biggest roles in any college sport is recruiting. You know, we're football guys. Jason and I played in the early 90s, some of us mid-90s. How does recruiting college hockey players how is it different than recruiting basketball and football?
Well, I mean, I think there's certainly a lot of similarities in that. You know, you got to identify the type of player you want, and I think that's important. You know, for any sport is, you know, you got to identify players that fit into the identity of how you want to play as a team. But with regards to hockey, you know, I think the one dynamic that's maybe different than other sports is the family advisor side and understanding that. I think the family advisors, they do a great job, but they identify these kids at a young age, maybe 14, 15, and so they're starting to advise the family on decisions, and the family advisor eventually gets paid when the player gets paid. So they're gonna look for schools where they feel like their player is going to develop, you know, and I think it's really important for us at Michigan State to be a spot where we're known for developing high-end talent and developing guys that play in the National Hockey League, and have an open line of communication with the advisors. Certainly certainly not that they have free reign, but the goal is the same. Is we want the player to be great, so our team's great, and they want the player to be great, so they can make it to the National Hockey League. So I think that is the interesting dynamic with hockey, and I feel fortunate the spots I've been. Like just when I was just with the national team, and we had 9 kids rated in the first round in this year's draft, and so you're dealing with a lot of the top ones, and I feel like I've been able to establish good relationships where those guys trust me to be honest with them, to be transparent, and also my best interest is for their player to help them get better.
Coach, before I get my question off, hey, congrats and welcome home. Super thrilled to have you back in East Lansing. What a family business that you guys have going, by the way. You know, all you guys are obviously from hockey hotbed, Sheboygan, Michigan. And your brothers, Jason, he's assistant director, amateur scouting over at Buffalo. Your brother, Jared, assistant coach, Rockford Ice Hogs. How special is it just to make hockey coaching really the family business that you guys have made it?
Yeah, I mean, I would have never guessed. You know, I think growing up in Sheboygan, you alluded to it. I mean, an unbelievable town, unbelievable community, unbelievable people. I think at the end of the day, we had parents that they both were college athletes, but never played hockey, and they knew, saw quick that my brothers and I had a passion for the sport of hockey, and you know, they had to search out and seek advice from people on how to pursue that passion, and we moved away from home at a young age, and we were influenced by some really good people, and kind of found our way, and then kind of just kept playing. Eventually, we got to college, played a little bit of pro, and yeah, and I think it's just kind of in our blood. You know, hockey's one of those sports, much like sports, football or whatever it is. Your passion is once it's in your blood, it's not coming out. So, I was out of hockey for 1 year, and then got into coaching. My younger brother played about 600 games in the minors, and then he got into coaching. And then my older brother was in coaching for a little bit, and actually at Notre Dame, and he's got a math background, like aerospace engineering. He's the smart one in the family. He wrote an algorithm for player evaluation, and
wow,
Buffalo signed him, and then eventually he's morphed into scouting. So yeah, super thankful to. I really don't. It's kind of cliche, but I don't think any of us feel like we've ever worked a day in our life, and we're real fortunate about that.
Well, that's awesome, Coach. And, and again, welcome home. Welcome back to Michigan State University,
Thank
Coach.
you.
I've got 2 questions for you. Number one, for me, I know you've trained a lot of young hockey players, going back to your days at Chautauqua St. Mary's back in Minnesota, as well as the U.S. national team, professional ranks with the Sabres and Red Wings. What are some things from those stops that you've made along the way that are key core values that you're going to bring to the program at Michigan State?
Yeah, no.
First question.
That's one thing I feel fortunate, like my breadth of experience, and I've said I'm never going to claim to be a perfect coach. I'm a coach that's constantly growing and trying to get better. But, I think when you're talking about development, I coached the best 14-year-olds in the world all the way up to the National Hockey League. And I think I know what the best 14-year-old looks like. I know what the best 16-year-old looks like, and again, all the way up to the National Hockey League. So I'm super lucky to have that experience. And I think, too, when you start out in coaching, it's really important to have really good mentors, and when I got to Shattuck, Tom Woodward is the best coach I've ever been around. He's a fundamentally based coach. It wasn't about any frills. It was about lots of sweat and work and lots of teaching. So I think all that, and I think it's really helped me form my kind of opinion, one, how I really feel the game should be played to have success both development-wise and winning hockey games. And then I think in the player identification, like I really believe there's 3 things. I really felt this way once I got to the National Hockey League, but 3 things that really separate players. It'd be hockey sense, competitiveness, and athleticism. And, I always tell people, like when I worked in the NHL, we never sent a guy down to the American League because he couldn't take a one-timer or couldn't take a slap shot, or it was a hockey sense issue. The game happened too fast. He maybe wasn't as competitive as he needed to be and was maybe overwhelmed. And then, the athleticism piece is huge. And some of that is 100% is God-given. But I also think you can conquer some of those in the weight room. And so really those 3 things after my journey through hockey is what I value in a player, what we'll be looking for guys at Michigan State.
I'll tell you, Coach. That's
on that, my second question real quick, Coach, you mentioned mentors along the way, and in the opening interview, we saw that you used a statement that you tried to be a coach that was always where your feet are at during your career. Now, I heard that statement for the first time in my life from one Nick Saban this past summer. Be where your feet are at. Now, where did you get that statement from? And is that something in the hockey world that you heard from one of your mentors, or is that a Nick Saban deal? I don't know.
Or did you steal that off our podcast last week, Coach?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
yeah. Yeah, no, you know what? I would say it's learned through. I did a poor job of it as a player. You know, I think when you're playing, you're competitive, and you guys could probably appreciate this. You're always kind of like, you know, when I was playing Bantam, I couldn't wait to play midget. When I was playing midget, I couldn't wait to play junior. When I was playing junior, I couldn't wait to get to college. When I was playing college, I couldn't wait to get to pro. And you're always chasing that next thing in your mind. And then I got into coaching. Like I never really had a coaching goal. I told myself, you know what? And I don't really get any more satisfaction to coaching 14-year-olds as I did when I was coaching the Detroit Red Wings. And I think just trying to be where your feet are at. And I think especially in coaching, I mean, man, there's so many things that you could be thinking about, and even spending time trying to promote yourself, just be great at where you're at, and maybe you end up staying where you're at, and that's okay too. And you know, I kind of feel like I got a passion for coaching, and I woke up, next thing you know, I'm behind the bench with the Red Wings, and I'm coaching the national team, and now I'm here at Michigan State. So I'm going to do the same thing here and make sure our players understand that as well.
What a resume, I'll tell you, what a resume. But, Coach, really the most important question I can ask you tonight, not only are Spartans, and not fans, there's a difference between Spartans and fans, as we know. Not only are Spartans thirsty for natties, they're thirsty for beer. When are we getting beer at Mount Ice?
Yeah, I'm in.
Or do I need to make calls?
Yeah. You have more leverage than
Brian, make the call.
It's interesting, you know. I think you're seeing it more, right? In college sports. So certainly, you know, that's one thing. The athletic department here, you got a lot of smart people that are going to make decisions that are best for the team, that are best for the university. And I'm sure if that's something that they feel is important, then it would be something we would do. But we haven't gotten to that point.
That's the least of your concerns right now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I was just messing with you, but you know, back to your pedigree, right? I mean, it's obviously very, very impressive. And so when you look at that, and we all know that recruiting is the lifeblood of any program success, and really the ability to develop talent, to prepare young players for their lives after college, really is also a big piece of what you've signed on to do. You know, just is there different approaches with NHL caliber prospects? And someone who may not have the same level of talent. I mean, like, what are some of the important things that you want players to take away from a Michigan State experience?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I mean, to me, I think it's really important that our players know our staff. Like, they see the person first and the player second, regardless if you're a first-round draft pick or if you're a guy that's a walk-on that maybe he's not playing that much. I don't want, you know, that was one thing I was really fortunate growing up. My parents instilled in my brothers and I that, like, when you look, hockey's what you do, it's not who you are. When you look in the mirror, you shouldn't see a hockey player. I shouldn't see a hockey coach. It's a person first. And, you know, I think to your point is, you know, I look back when I was, you know, a student athlete, 2 years later, I was a dad. And it's like, holy cow. I had a lot of maturing to do. And I look back playing for Coach Conley, and, you know, he probably didn't realize it, but I did see how he treated his wife. I did see how he treated his family, and his family mattered. You know, those things impacted me, and he was a great role model in that way. You know, I think perseverance in any athletics, you know, I think that's something we're all going to face and fighting through adversity. And I think when you have perspective what true adversity is, like a lot of times in sports we think, you know, like I haven't scored in 4 games, the team's lost 2. Like, yes, that's tough, but that's nowhere near what a lot of people have, like true adversity in their life. So having that perspective to say, hey, this is great, we're going to give it everything we have, but there's more to life than hockey.
And Coach, your introductory press conference, I think you aced it. So whatever you want to take away from that, probably Absolutely. Not much, but hey, you know, I think you aced it personally.
You won it.
Yeah, there we go.
Thanks,
one thing I found interesting, though, is your quote about you just want your players to play not worrying about mistakes. How so? Like, is that just kind of the mindset that you're going to carry throughout the entire program, whether it be during film practice and games, or is this ironed out all in practice, really detailed practices, or how do you end up at that goal?
Yeah. I think a lot of times players are capable of more than coaches give them credit. And I think the last thing we want to do as a coaching staff is take the sticks out of their hands and make them feel like they can't make a play. And I think just the reality of our sport, the sport is so fast right now.
Yeah.
And mistakes are going to happen, and it's about how you recover. So there's obviously going to be moments in the game that we're going to have to teach through that stuff in practice and put guys in the game environment where they increase the percentage of making good decisions with the puck or without the puck. But once the game comes, you got to play this game on your toes. You can't sit back and play safe and be and cautious and worried about, hey, if I turn the puck over. And then our job as a coaching staff is when you allow freedom to make a play is to determine whether a player is abusing that freedom. And I think it's a pretty easy thing to pick out when a guy's entering the zone and there's no play to be made there, and he's forcing it because he just thinks there's someone there. To me, that's abusing the freedom. If he's got his head up and he's got a guy supporting him and he tries to make that play, I'm okay with that. But now you got to stop, you got to get back, and you got to recover and try to kill the play. So, I mean, that's the mindset. And when you're talking about development, I really think being in that type of environment is when guys really maximize to their potential.
Good deal.
Well, Coach, yeah, I got a question for you, Coach. Now, when you talk about the image of the team, I think last previous coach's style was more sandpaper, gritty, finish checks and flick, physical will on the opposition. For you, what kind of image do you want your team to have?
Yeah, no, that's I'm a big, I think identity of your team trumps systems or structures or tactics, and I talked about in my press conference, said before, like Coach Izzo's basketball team. I mean, I truly believe you could switch the jersey, put them in a gym in the middle of nowhere, and you walk in and watch and say, that's Spartan basketball, So having a clear identity. We want to be a team that plays ultra smart, smart with and without the puck. So back to when I talked about having freedom, we want to make smart decisions. So yes, I don't want the players gripping their stick, but we want to play smart. We want to play fast. Like, I think speed kills. We're going to train that way. We're going to practice that way, and we're going to play at a pace and recruit players that can play at a fast pace, both with their feet, but also with their mind. I think that's a big part of playing fast, is being able to think the game, and then hard. Like, I do believe our game needs to be played hard. There is a physical element to it. You need to get to the inside offensively, and you need to make it hard on teams to get to the inside on you and be hard in front of your net. But those would be the three things for me. Like our Spartan hockey identity would be smart, fast, and hard.
Smart, fast, and hard.
I like that.
Love it.
I love that too.
Yeah.
Back to systems, and one more question. We'll let you go. We appreciate you joining us tonight. Joined again by Coach Adam Nightingale, Michigan State's new hockey coach. What system will you run? Will you be, defense first, positionally sound, dump and chase, pressure offense? Like, is that something that you have a certain style that you expect us to play? Every week, every game.
For sure. I think the identity piece, that would be huge. But I really feel the game is about creating time and space when you have the puck, and then eliminating time and space when you don't. So when we have the puck, it'll be a puck support game where guys are working. And I think players get excited about playing that way. The reality is it's super hard work. To play that way, you have to be in great shape. You have to train and practice in that environment. So you can. We want to. I've used it with our teams before. Like, the puck is gold, and it's so hard to get. We don't want to just give it up. And then defensively, we want to eliminate time and space and use and defend aggressively. So when the other team has it, we are hunting them down, and we are getting the puck back, and then now it's back on offense. So that would be how I believe the game should be played, and how we're going to play here at Michigan State.
Well, Coach, we wish you nothing but the best. You know that. And we appreciate you joining us tonight. And if there's anything that we can do to help you, please let us know. We stand behind you. We're rooting for you. And, You work on that recruiting, and we'll make some phone calls on that beer over there at Mon Ice.
I like it.
That's
Sounds
right.
good. Yeah.
That's right.
We're
Sounds
good.
good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Coach. Coach, thanks
Yeah.
for joining us.
Appreciate
Coach
you,
Adam,
Coach.
appreciate
Thanks a
you,
lot,
Coach. Go Green.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Yep, go Green. Go White.
Coach Adam Nightingale, Michigan State University's hockey coach, and Michigan State hockey is interesting because I don't want to tell him this because I was scared, but
Sure.
I'll be the first to admit, as a former trustee, I mean, will they give him the resources? I will
Yeah.
take the blame. I mean, I don't think we provided the resources for Danton the way that I don't think there was an emphasis on hockey.
Sure.
Or the resources were put behind the program, and I'm partially to blame for that as well. But
It is your fault, man.
it is my fault. On to our next topic, and I see we're playing the video already. So Max
Rolling.
Christie, heading to the draft, officially staying in the NBA draft. What are our thoughts on that?
I apologize. I thought that video
Tough
had
loss.
sound. That's why I didn't talk. My bad. No, it is a tough loss. But you know what? Because I commented on Locked On Spartans the other day, and this is okay. There's no good way to sugarcoat this. It's a bummer for next year's roster, right? Like that's probably your go-to guy next year. That's now off to the NBA. But hey, let's put on our silver lining hat right now. Pretty good for the program to the sense that this is going to be 4 of the last 5 drafts they had a Spartan picked, and then that would make it 6 players in the last 5 drafts as well. So solid for Michigan State, Tom Izzo, to at least pin that in the board right there. So yeah, you know what? Today's a new day. We're going to be optimistic about this. So that's kind of the launching point.
I mean, I want to
right
be
there.
I want to be optimistic too. Jason, what are your thoughts on this?
It's a tough one, man. I thought that's a young man that's loaded with talent. He has the pedigree. Obviously, his mother being the all-time leading scorer in Northwestern basketball history. I just thought that he was more of a two-and-done type of guy than a one-and-done. I thought that, though he showed flashes, he played a lot. There's definitely he's NBA capable. I just didn't think. I thought he would be better served, in my opinion, coming back for at least another year at Michigan State. Kind of like what we talked about with Jalen Naylor. Did he get drafted? Yes, he did. But we think that if he comes back one more year, he goes up that draft board. And I think Christie's the kind of guy that's in that same category, that if he comes back to Michigan State for one more year, he's a top 15, top 10 type guy. Right now, I don't think he's there. But his heart's in it to go on to the next level. And from that, you got to tip your hat to the young man and thank him for his service. And best of luck to him from here on out.
We'll
be a fan.
Absolutely be a fan. We wish all Spartans that had that way had declared. We wish them all the best. But I called it. I felt a long time ago that he was gone. But what surprised me was, didn't he declare that he's staying in the draft before the combine even?
That was interesting.
That was an interesting move.
Yeah, and I think today, too, it came out that he didn't, scrimmage today either. So, listen, it's either that he heard something from a team.
He didn't scrimmage today either today?
That was the rumor around the NBA mill today, is that they had workouts and opportunities, too, and he sat some out. So, listen, that could be a turnoff for some teams, but it could also mean that, maybe a team saw enough in his shooting form because, listen, the percentages weren't there. I don't think that's a secret, but that he's got the frame that he could build muscle on, that they can bring in as a two-way guy, developmental guy. Maybe he heard something from an NBA program. I don't know. This is all speculation. This is what I do best, just speculate, Brian. But that was a fascinating part of this decision, that not even the combine starts, and it's y'all be good. But can I just bring up one more silver lining?
No, bring it.
We're buying stock in Jaden Akins. And if you haven't already bought it, this means more playing time for Mr. Akins. We're going to the moon with Jaden Akins. Was very high on him as a recruit. I put way too many chips in the basket, but hey, I think this is going to pay dividends now because, like what we saw for him last year, I mean, he didn't get a ton of playing time. Here, let me hold this up for the camera again. This is my great handwriting. It's a great spot for Jaden Akins, and he gets to traject upward faster than he would have as a sixth man. So I'm trying hard to find exciting things about this, but if there is any, it's that it's more Jaden Akins minutes at the 3, perhaps at the 2 in some rotations. So I'm a big Jaden Akins guy. So let's go. There we go.
So I got several texts about Jaden Akins Day. Jaden Akins time. It's funny you say that.
Let's go.
But,
Let's go.
Did you find his move interesting, Jason, that he entered, or declared, or stayed in the draft before the combine, and then he sat out some of the scrimmaging? Very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you know, as you said, you've been talking about this since he flirted with going into pros from day one, Brian. You thought that he was gone. You know, I thought that he was a guy that was going to be better served coming back. I do understand that the NBA is a projection league. Yeah. NBA is not about we need you as a finished product. You're better served sometimes, in some cases, being raw and young and coming in there and then, you know, getting on these teams, maybe being a D-League guy, somehow getting back, because the money that they're paying these guys with the new TV deals are just astronomical. When you get these Supermax contracts, I mean, it's unbelievable. So if you're good enough to play on that level, Brian, maybe you must have the inside information from the Christie family or something, his camp. I don't know.
No,
but I thought it was interesting that you did not. It was just a hunch.
I just knew he was gone.
You just had an epiphany at 3 a.m. You just woke up staring at the ceiling.
I just knew he was gone.
He's gone. He's out of
You
here.
just knew it.
I knew it. Yeah.
Shoot.
But let me ask you a question real quick. I'm a savant. Now you made me lose my train of thought. What I haven't even seen a mock draft. Do they have them late second round? What do they have them?
So I've seen the highest at 32, and I've seen some like 39, some at 45, but it seems like that 39 to 45 range is where it's at. And there's more guaranteed money for top 45 picks now, and also they've recently upped the contracts for two-way players that bounce between the G League and NBA to the point where two-way players are now getting, I think it's half of the NBA rookie minimum, which is, it's money. It is United States currency. That's not to sneeze at. So it's, listen, I've been very clear. I'm not jazzed about it. Jason, I'm right on with you. I'm probably right on with you, Brian, that like, I think he could have used a Gary Harris here.
Me too.
Bump that stock up a little bit, but the money's different now these days, even than it was 7 years ago now when Gary Harris left. So it
is different. It's get that first contract out of the way,
right? And
if you ride the pine and G League and whatever, who cares? You know, just get it out of the way.
Sure.
We wish him nothing but Spartan Nation wishes you nothing but the best, Max, and all the best.
It's Jaden Akins time. Let's go, baby.
Jaden Akins time. We got the next header ready.
Let's go. There we go.
Is the header ready? Do you have the header there as well? Interesting column written yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Which made us all read and pause, and you know, I think it was on another show where when you listen to a coach go on about NIL and college sports and transfers, you know, you begin. It's a valid question. I personally think he's going to get buried under the Breslin. He's not going anywhere.
Sure.
That's what I personally think.
Sure.
But it's let's read one of his quotes. You know, it's sad. Coach said this during the interview. It's sad what's happened. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is the first time in my 27 years that I only have 11 guys on scholarship because I don't even know if you can keep 13 happy. Changes to college sports transfer process has dealt a serious blow to accountability, according to Izzo, and that's his biggest concern. What to make of this, folks?
Well, hey, Tom Izzo's an open book, right? Like, for better or for worse, he's never one to shy away from answering questions. Hell, you guys just had him on. Like, you know all too well about this. But, yeah, he was an open book during this interview on, I think it was like 7:30, the game with Tim Stout. And that quote encapsulates a lot, right? It covers the whole NIL portion. Can you keep your players happy in that era? Also, okay, the transfer portal's also exploded, too. And these are topics that he's hit on many a time before. But I think what took us back here, it's, you know, you parlay that it's hard to keep 13 players happy comment, but also with like, yeah, I wanted the world to adjust me, not change me. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm paraphrasing, but that was kind of the crux of what he was talking about. And then when he says that, it's like, is retirement closer for him than we all thought? Because in years past, like, anytime a microphone's thrown in his face and asked about retirement, it's like, I'm as re-energized as ever. I'm going to go until, like, I'm dead. And I still partially believe that, but yeah, those quotes yesterday is the first time where I read it. It's like, oh, is the end near? Is this like a Roy Williams, Jay Wright sort of thing where he's just going to have enough? And So that's one half of my takeaways, but the other half is like, I don't necessarily think he said anything wrong. Like,
no, he didn't, and I agree.
Right.
And I think he cares about the overall health of the game. But in a 6-second soundbite, I mean, I think it sounds
right.
You know, that he's not
curmudgeon-y.
He's not adjusting to the times. That's the way people are taking it.
Sure.
And what are your thoughts, Jason?
Listen, my thoughts on coaches are he's a phenomenal coach. He's done it at every level. He's got the 100 banners at Breslin.
112.
I like challenging coach. 112. I like nudging coach because, he likes to poke fun back and forth, and, he likes to mix it up. He's a fiery guy. And, sometimes you want to challenge him to see if that gets him going, because that's what he does with his team. That's what he does with everybody around him. That if you get to know Tom, it's a great guy. This is a different new era. He sees the friends around him. From North Carolina, Villanova, Duke. These iconic coaches, man, and they're all stepping away from the game. And he did make the comment in that interview that you were starting to read there, Brian, about it's not by accident.
Yes.
It's not because they're too old.
Yes.
So when you're hearing those statements, there's probably a little, there's some doubt going on in his mind. Now, is he up to the challenge? Yes, but Tom Izzo's made a ton of money. Tom Izzo's comfortable. He's not have to prove anything to anybody. He doesn't have to prove anything to me. Damn sure doesn't have to prove anything to anybody else on Michigan State or around the country. He's a Hall of Famer, already in the Hall of Fame. So what is there left for him? Because as you said to him on the show, Brian, either you adapt or you die in this new era. This is where we are. Does he want to change? As he mentioned in that article as well on that radio show with Tim Stout, he doesn't want the world to change him. Well, we're at a crossroads right now, and this is what we're dealing with at Spartan basketball right now. And we just have to wait this out and see how the process ends up for Tom Izzo. So, hey, we're just at bay waiting for you, Coach. You let us know. We stand behind you 1,000,000%.
Yeah, and I think it doesn't help, too, that, these quotes have come in the middle of an offseason that has seen, no transfer portal activity, at least incoming to Michigan State. So you read those quotes, it's like, well, am I going to adjust or am I going to change? Am I going to do neither? It's like, well, so far it doesn't seem like we are going to be adjusting here because kind of light on the scholarship players, kind of light in center depth, now wing depth. So we'll see what happens there. I don't think, the timing did any favors as far as what's going on in the transfer portal, but yeah, Jason, you're bang on. He's done everything. He doesn't have anything to prove to anyone. And listen, I don't want him to leave. I would be fine with him, staying for a Supreme Court term. Stay as long as you possibly want, please. Listen, and I get that this is off the tail end of 2 seasons that didn't go so great, an off season that's been, depending on who you ask, up or down. But I wouldn't blame him if he walked away, right? Because it's the two things. It's it's just how fast this is all happening. This is something I've paraded, often. If you're one of the 12 people that's listened to the podcast that I'm on before.
You've been this is warp speed.
It is. It is just so fast. It's not like it was a gradual build up to NIL, gradual build up to the transfer portal. It's this guy rolled out of bed one day and all of a sudden it's the Wild West out there. And that's the other thing. There's no regulation. There's no regulation.
None.
It is just banana land out there. So it's tough. It is adapt or die, but he's been doing this for 27 years. He's been doing great at it for 27 years. And now it's just this, as he's 67 years old, almost 3 decades of doing this in one way, and now he's got to do it another way. It's if I did it for 3 years and all of a sudden this happened, I think I would leave my profession. He's been doing this for almost 3 decades. I wouldn't fault him for it. I wouldn't say, oh, he's a quitter. I'd be no, that's go enjoy your lake house. Go enjoy your money. Please. So, yeah. I wouldn't blame him.
He's not going anywhere. I think intrinsically, now that he's being doubted that he can adapt.
Oh.
I think that's his new motivation.
I like that.
The Tom that I know.
Is that the play?
The is that I know is irritated that he's being doubted that he can adapt. He's irritated that he's worried about the overall future of the game and the overall health of kids making bad decisions, and irritated that it's being spun that he's anti-NIL. He was very clear. He said, he supports NIL. He supports name, image, and likeness players getting paid. That he worries. He wanted guardrails and wanted kind of let's look at the totality of the whole thing. And so that's not what's reported, because
no, that doesn't make the headlines.
No.
Yeah, come on.
You know, Justin Thin wrote a great article about Izzo, and he encapsulated a lot of the frustration of the fans with one quote where he talked about, and I'll quote Justin. He said, however, the frustration that MSU fans have echoed all season is not about whether Tom Izzo points about the portal and NIL are right or wrong, as most seem to agree that he is spot on. Instead, the frustration centered around the fact that Izzo seems to be focused on those aforementioned quote-unquote negative byproducts, much more than the positives of how these rules can help him. As a result, Izzo's valid points have begun to hinder his actual roster construction and put his program at a disadvantage, when these rule changes really should have provided him the opportunity to step into a level playing field for the first time in his career. You know, that's that statement, and when he was on our show, I talked about that. I said, Coach, this levels the playing field for you. All these other programs that are cheating, this allows you now to compete with these programs, and he agreed. And then he went on to talk about the game itself and rant, and so, I mean, Justin made a very good point. What are your thoughts on that?
Justin's bang on with what he wrote. Like, this could level the playing field, everything like that. But, and the offseason is kind of starting to run out a little bit, isn't it? Like, we're not getting any more transfers in the portal, so where's the communication with that? And NIL, I don't know, does MSU have any boosters that are into this NIL sort of thing? I don't know. I'm drawing a blank right here. I'm kidding.
I can't think of any.
Yeah, no, I'm drawing massive blanks right here. But, yeah, I mean, but, hey, this is just what you're talking about, right? People doubting him. And just add more fuel to the fire. Like, here, start, like, the Twitter clip right now. Okay. I don't think you can do it. I don't think you can adapt. I think Tom Izzo's done for. There's no shot.
Yeah, that's what you say.
That's right. Put him out.
We need Brian to join in with that, to try to get poke some fun at Coach, so we can get him ignited, and he can start kicking some ass out here.
Stir the pot.
Come on, Brian.
That's right.
Quit being so nice.
Yeah.
He's not going to fire you, I promise.
That already happened, so we're good. Don't worry about it. We're good. But but I think the fact that he's being doubted right now, it's irritating. And I think he just, like we talked about, he wears his emotions on his sleeve, and he just goes on and on and on. And what turns out to be a good point gets turned into our Izzo's days numbered.
And, like, also, too, it's like, hey, he's probably saying what hundreds of coaches are thinking, too. It's just that, it's either A, they don't talk in front of the microphone as much as Izzo does, or B, like, they just don't want to, put that out there. Like,
Coach, we love NIL and we love the portal.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and I doubt you. That's right. So let's prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
That's it.
That's right. There we go.
When they ask you, Coach,
prove all of us wrong, Coach.
That's right.
I love NIL and I love the portal. And you're good.
Yep.
That's it.
Bang.
On to the next topic here.
I think we just solved it. There
we
go.
did.
Nice.
MSU football recruits set their official visits. Well, I'll tell you what. What a June. Have we seen a June like this? Huh?
Never.
Negative. No.
I in my lifetime, I have never seen a June like this coming to East Lansing. And I'm talking about, you name it. When you look at June 3rd, right? The weekend of June 3rd.
It's a nice one. It's a nice one.
You got 2 5-stars, you got 4 4-stars, you got 3 states being represented. These are kids, some are currently committed, and some are obviously the ones. These are the ones that we want, the ones that we're targeting, and we care very much deep about. And I'm telling you, this is more to talk about the star power coming to East Lansing. Have we ever seen anything like this, Mr. Strayhorn, minus your son?
Never. My son's not old enough yet, Brian. So, no, we have never seen anything like this. So many 5 stars, 4 stars. I mean, this was at a recent fundraising event with Mel Tucker where he made the comment. He said, look, if the kid isn't a 4 or 5 star player, we don't want him on the board. He's not on our board. We're not calling him. We're not emailing him. We're not texting him. We don't want him in the building. We don't want him anywhere around East Lansing. He says the kids that are coming to East Lansing, that's where he's put his standard for the coaching staff to go out and recruit. Like, this is why he's cast such a big net across the country, because he's not going to settle, especially in the NIL and the transfer portal era, where in past years, we've seen recruits where we got to win Michigan, we've got to win Ohio. He's got a totally different philosophy than we've ever seen before. This is if you want to win a national title, this is the kind of philosophy that you need to have. And that is, what does it take to be in the playoffs, guys? You got to have players.
Got to have players.
You have to have talent. And he's going out and he's getting it. Never seen anything like this before in East Lansing.
You look at June 3rd, right? David Hicks, Vic Burley, Madden Sanker, who I know is someone highly coveted. Jelani Thurman, Chance Rucker, Jalen Braxton, highly coveted. All these kids are highly coveted. Shamarad Amarov, and then two current commits, Jonathan Slack and Bo Edmondson. That's a great weekend. Huh?
You talk about it, right? And listen, just with what Jason Strahan was saying, this is how you win national titles with these high-rated kids. But also, I just fall in love to what Georgia did last year. And no, I'm not just talking about that college football playoff game, which was a delightful way to spend the new year. The trenches. Holy smokes. All that I was just enamored with both games is these are just bison in the trenches here. And June 3rd, what do we got? Okay, we got 5-star David Hicks. Okay, that's a defensive lineman. We got Vic Burley. That's a 5-star defensive lineman. Madden Sanker, interior offensive lineman. I mean, these are all great kids. Even Madden Sanker. Okay, he's a 4-star. He's top 100 kid, though. And, holy smokes. So these are the kind of kids that you want on campus. These are the kind of kids that you want committing. And so please, if any of you are watching, I'm a very big fan of yours.
June 10th, please.
Yeah, all the Spartan faithful that are looking at maybe prospective NIL deals or some guys that you're going to be wanting to see on Saturday, be around campus on June 3rd. Take a look at some of these guys. Take a look, open up your hearts, your minds, and your wallets. Because, look, it's all legal now. There's no holds barred. Just run it through compliance, sign the contract with the kid. I'm telling you guys, that's what they're doing in Georgia. That's what they're doing in Alabama. That's what they're doing in Texas. So if we want to win in East Lansing, come on in.
Come on in.
We have to do what we got to do.
Amen.
Within the rules, Jason.
We go right up to the line, Brian. To the line.
Luckily, we don't work at the university, so. June 10th, Ryan Yates, Eno Etta, Andrew DePape, the Twitter wonder.
Yep.
Jordan Hall, Jamal Anderson, Kendrick Ruscano, commit, love him. Clay Whedon, Jaden Bonsu, Terrence Green, Elijah Page. That's the June 10th. Boy, I tell you, 7 4-stars, 6 states.
Talent.
Friday, June 17. June 17. Miles McVeigh, Peyton Kirkland,
Big fella.
Trevor
Another
Luck.
big fella.
2 4-stars, 3 states.
Look at those 3 guys. Did you see the size? Go back to that. Go back. Look at the size of those 3.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
6'6", 358, 6'6", 345, the little guy, 6'6", 285.
Wow,
From Indianapolis, Ron Cowley.
Making you look
gotta
skinny.
beat him when he gets up here.
Making you look tiny, big fella. Wow.
How about you? I mean, you used to play on that offensive line, believe it or not. People don't really recognize that. 200 pounds ago?
201.2 today, just so you know.
Solid.
Thank you.
That's solid.
Thank you.
For the record.
Yeah, Amari Washington, Dalen Austin,
Wow.
Joe Crocker, MSU commit Eddie Pleasant on the 24th. Yeah. Alexander Dost. I'm telling you, man, oh man, oh man. Transfers are on campus as well. Broussard, Barker, Brian Green.
Yeah,
We
big
got
important pieces too.
Very big important pieces. And the way Mel has attacked the portal, and the roster of stars coming in June, has there ever been a time to be more excited about MSU football?
No, he's going into year 3, and I'm still like trying to wrap my head around this. Like that quote that Strahan just said about like, listen, we're gunning for 5 stars and 4 stars. It's like, I love Mark Antonio like a family member, but like, what a far cry from the end of that era this is right now. Like, this is uncharted waters right here. Like, I've never really been too like dialed into recruiting. I've always followed it, of course, but it's never like had this like amazing appeal that Mel Tucker's putting on it for us state fans. So like,
I didn't realize football was a 12-month season around here, and then
it's beautiful. I love it.
It's great, and I mean,
I love it.
I didn't realize what a big business and how important recruiting. I mean, I knew it was important. But just I've never seen anything like this. I mean, this is something that we'll get the experts back on here to break down the tape on each one of these young men later on here. We'll have them, we'll have them host a early show in July, Justin and Corey, and then they can talk about recruiting, talk about how June went. That would be absolutely great.
Recruiting's everything. It's everything.
Yeah.
Tuck living rent-free in Harbs. Jim Harbaugh's head. Wow.
It's true.
Why is that? Unbelievable. Reading that, and look at that. Read that for us, Matt.
Gotcha. Harbaugh reportedly wanted candidates to arrive at their interviews, and by candidates, defensive coordinator candidates, arrive at their interviews with some early game plan thoughts specifically for Michigan State on 1st and 2nd downs and Ohio State on 3rd downs, according to a story in The Athletic. So I can only imagine those game plans would be having more than 7 of your players on the field for 1st and 2nd down. That would be probably guideline number 1 to have, is that really hasn't happened in the last 2 years. And number 2, how sick at group photos you can be in the middle of a first quarter when we got 50 minutes of game time left to play. So that's probably items number 1 and 2 when it comes to hiring defensive coordinators when you're playing and getting beat by Michigan State in the last 2 years at Mel Tucker. So yeah, that's
one of the Chiefs' best graphic about the Michigan coach posing.
Yeah, he blocked me on Twitter for some reason. I don't understand why.
Okay, we'll get into that. We're gonna
make another call.
We'll make a call.
Yeah,
we'll make another call.
Good.
But,
thank you.
But imagine that recruiting. If I'm Peyton Thorne, I'm pissed. You better be recruiting against 3rd down against Michigan State.
That's right. Right.
Exactly.
Feel slighted. Yeah. That's right.
What's amazing?
In the face.
What's amazing is how a story like that gets out there. Huh? Oh yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing.
I can find bulletin board material anywhere. Yeah, I like that bulletin board material. Yeah.
And it just cracks me up that, someone is living rent-free in somebody's head.
Well, I'll tell you what, if he did that, Brian, I mean, how many guys did he interview? He only could hire 1. The rest of them got that question. They leaked it.
Let's go. That's right. So now we bring them on our staff. That's right. We play a little game of mall right here. That's what we're talking about. Yeah. We're going with this. That's right. I'm here to break some infractions right now. We're going to get 11 guys.
Very
on
interesting how that story got leaked. Very interesting.
It is.
But
makes you think.
When have we ever heard in East Lansing that happening? And I mean, I think 10-4 over the last 14 years, 5 touchdowns by K9 probably does that. When you had 2 bookends who, arguably were number 1 and would have been a top 10 pick.
Something great. Yeah, without a doubt.
And that's clearly somebody is in somebody's head, but that's what happens when you're 2-0, right?
I mean, I've thought about it every day ever since it's happened.
I
I'd imagine if it happens against you, it ain't much better. So no doubt about that. But yeah, I love that bulletin board material right before the game this year.
I take that as disrespect to Peyton Thorne.
That's right. They don't believe in your 3rd down offense.
They do
not
not believe in your 3rd down offense. Jay Johnson, you as well. Harbaugh's interviewing candidates, does not care about your 3rd down play call, nor about Peyton Thorne's 3rd down ability to complete it and move the chains. We got something next year coming for them.
I wouldn't need the ball on 1st and 2nd down, just for like 3rd and 14, just to jam it to him. Like Jay Johnson is going to let the Ferrari rip.
That's what they're saying.
Exactly.
That's exactly what they're saying.
Hey, shut them down on 1st and 2nd down. They'll be punt. That's what they're saying, Peyton.
Not so fast. Nope, Jay Johnson. He's going to let the Jets fly this year. That's right. It's going to be just...
Oh, that's so interesting to me. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Are we going to Washington? I know you're going, Jason. You're going to be... I got to go out to the Pacific Northwest, don't we?
Do some sailgating out there. I hear that's a big thing. Rent a sailboat.
Yeah.
Do some tailgating, because nothing goes better than, sailing and having to dock a boat after you've had 25 shots of Fireball. Like, that's how they do it over there. But hey, I don't know. Maybe they have like different game day laws in Seattle than they do here. So
I watched the game there. It is a beautiful stadium
looks
and
amazing.
overlooking Lake Washington, I believe it is. It is absolutely gorgeous.
It looks great. So
It is absolutely gorgeous. So, real quick, Draymond Green.
Let's go. Pride and joy of MSU. Let's go.
Pride and joy, MSU, Day. Heading to the Western Conference
Day.
Finals. Congratulations to Day. How we're proud of you. Always bleeding green. Draymond Green, bleeding green. Hating on that team down the road.
Always.
And always just hates them. And he is so proud to be a Spartan. Draymond, Day.
Definition of a Spartan dog. Right
Absolutely.
there. Real Spartan dog.
SD4L, real Spartan dog. Without question.
No question.
Yeah, I don't know what that ogre, what's that ogre from ESPN that was running his mouth about him?
Oh, it wasn't.
Kendrick Perkins?
Oh, Perk, yeah.
I didn't see that.
Perk was running his mouth about Draymond. Oh, man, it was a bad look. Bad look, man.
Surely that will come back to bite Perk. No, of course not.
Wow. Well, anyway,
Perk's
one
a
last.
big fella now.
Yeah, he is. But hey,
I ain't worried about Day.
Day-Day's posted up against some pretty big guys. I mean,
Yeah. No, I ain't worried about Day.
he's from the Gnaw. Yeah, he's from the Gnaw. Come on now.
He's from the nasty. He's from the nasty.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'll take him any day.
Over there.
We got to get him on the show. You going to make some calls for us, Jason?
We're going to do that.
I'm going to handle.
Chasing him down now.
I'm handling Mun Ice Beer.
Yeah.
Getting the chief to
Make a
unblock.
call.
Getting the chief to unblock Matt. I'm going to make that call, hopefully.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
That has to be an accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna call Day for us.
Oh, yeah. We got Day coming.
All right, good. So, one last thing, we want to give a shout out to MSU coach Jackie Joseph, who has retired. Congratulations, Coach Joseph. Best of luck to you. Thank you for your years of service in East Lansing. And that will do it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I am Brian Musalam, along with my co-host Jason Strayhorn, and our another co-host Matt Sheehan from Locked On Spartans. What a pleasure it was to have you today.
This was a blast.
Thank you for having.
Awesome.
Thank you for joining us. This is fantastic.
Thanks for having me. This is great, man. This is I had imposter syndrome. Don't feel like I belong in a place this fancy.
This is you. You made the show. You absolutely. We don't know what we're doing.
Oh, you don't have to lie.
You're
to
a pro.
Come on.
You're an absolute pro. So
you guys are the best.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you everybody. Good night. God bless and go green.
Go white.
They put me first to get your attention, wake you up, and get you fired up. All right? Well, we went over there and busted out in the first inning in every game. We know what to do. You guys have been fantastic all weekend. All right, one more day. Atta go! Yeah! Those are game-changing, momentum-ending plays. Great job. Go green. Let him take it. That's it. Good job.
He stumped him. Nice block. Wow. Great penetration. Surge through the middle of that. Michigan State first and goal. Outstanding play.